In 1942, the USS Lexington vanished beneath the waves, carrying dozens of cutting-edge aircraft meant to change the war. Official records say some made it off, but 42 planes never flew again. Decades later, researchers found evidence that those machines and the secrets of Lady Lex might still be waiting on the ocean floor. What was left behind in the rush to save lives? And why does it matter now? When USS Lexington first took shape in the shipyards of the 1920s, she was never meant to be an aircraft carrier. Her hull began as a battlecruiser, built for speed and heavy guns. But the ink of the Washington Naval Treaty changed her destiny. Instead of being scrapped, the unfinished hull was reborn as one of the Navy's earliest fleet carriers, a floating airfield for a new kind of war. By December 14, 1927, Lexington was commissioned into service, her deck stretching nearly 900 feet, wide enough to launch and recover waves of aircraft. Her design was a leap forward for naval aviation. The hangar deck spanned almost the full length of the ship, with enough space to house more than 70 planes, including SBD Dauntless dive bombers, F-4F Wildcats, and TBD Devastators. 3 massive elevators, each powered by electric motors, moved aircraft between the hangar and the flight deck with a speed that rivaled anything afloat at the time. The entire air group could be readied for battle, stowed out of harm's way, or brought topside in minutes. But supporting that many planes required more than just space. Lexington's designers threaded a complex web of aviation fuel lines deep through her hull. These pipes ran from storage tanks far below the waterline, up through armored trunks, and into the hangar deck fueling stations. The system was built for efficiency, refueling dozens of planes at once, keeping the air group flying hour after hour. That same network, however, meant volatile gasoline was never far from the heart of the ship. Blueprints from the Bureau of Construction and Repair reveal how closely packed the fuel lines and electrical cables ran beneath the armored deck. It was a marvel of engineering for its age, but it also made the ship vulnerable in ways no one fully understood at the time. A single breach could send vapors drifting through the compartments, invisible and deadly. Lexington's vast hangars and powerful elevators gave her unmatched striking power in the Pacific. Yet those same features, her strength as an aircraft carrier, brought hidden risks below decks. The stage was set. In the chaos of battle, the very systems that made her formidable would become the source of her greatest peril. In early May 1942, the Coral Sea became the proving ground for a new kind of naval warfare. For the first time, 2 opposing fleets would fight without ever glimpsing each other. Every blow struck by aircraft launched from carriers far beyond the horizon. Lexington, paired with USS Yorktown, moved as the core of Task Force 17 under Rear Admiral Frank "Jack" Fletcher. The Japanese, aiming to seize Port Moresby, sent their own carriers, Shokaku and Zuikaku, into the fray. On May 7th, Lexington's air group took center stage. 17 SBD Dauntless dive bombers, 13 F-4F Wildcat fighters, and 12 TBD Devastator torpedo bombers thundered off her deck in coordinated waves. That day, American pilots spotted the Japanese light carrier Shoho. Lieutenant Commander Robert Dixon's words crackled across the radio after the attack. He radioed, "Scratch one flat top." The sinking of Shoho marked the first time a carrier had been destroyed by aircraft alone. But the battle was far from over. Lexington's crew worked around the clock, launching strike after strike, then scrambling to recover planes returning low on fuel or trailing smoke. Each landing was a gamble, with deck crews racing to clear wreckage and refuel aircraft as Japanese scouts circled overhead. The hangar deck, packed with planes, became a hive of organized chaos. Pilots briefed in tight knots, mechanics patched bullet holes, and ordnance teams rearmed bomb racks under the drone of engines. Every launch drained fuel reserves and tested the ship's ability to keep up with the relentless pace of battle. The carrier's elevators moved aircraft between decks in a constant ballet, sometimes bringing up damaged planes that barely made it back. The fuel system, designed for efficiency, now pumped gasoline through miles of pipe under pressure, feeding the tempo of combat, but also carrying risk just beneath the surface. Each hour, the tension mounted. The Japanese searched for Lexington, their own strike groups assembling for a decisive blow. By May 8th, the battle reached its peak. Lexington's flight deck was alive with activity, planes launching, landing, and sometimes crashing in the rush. The ship's very design, her speed and hangar capacity, allowed her to keep fighting longer than anyone expected. But the strain of non-stop operations, the pressure of battle, and the invisible dangers building below decks all converged as enemy bombers closed in. The stage was set for disaster, with the fate of the carrier and her air group hanging in the balance. At 11:20 a.m. on May 8, 1942, Lexington shuddered as 2 torpedoes slammed into her port side, followed by 3 bombs striking amidships and aft. The ship listed to port, but for a brief moment, hope lingered. Damage control teams rushed to contain fires and flooding, and the flight deck still buzzed with activity. Below, though, the real danger crept unseen. Aviation fuel lines, running deep through the hull, had ruptured in the attack. Gasoline vapors seeped into compartments, gathering in spaces no one could reach. At 12:47, a sudden, deafening blast tore through the forward part of the ship. The main damage control station vanished in an instant, taking 25 crewmen with it. Flames raced through the hangar deck. Crew scrambled to jettison what aircraft they could, but the list grew steeper, and smoke choked the passageways. Fires spread unchecked as more explosions ripped through the afternoon at 2:42 p.m., then at 3:25 p.m., each one pushing the carrier closer to the point of no return. Inside the hangar, the air grew thick with heat and fumes. Planes, SBD Dauntlesses, F-4F Wildcats, and TBD Devastators stood wingtip to wingtip, some still loaded with fuel and ordnance. Many could not be moved. Walt Tuning of VT-2, returning from a mission, described finding the ship listing, blanketed in smoke, chaos everywhere. The order to abandon ship came at 5:07 p.m. Captain Sherman personally checked the decks, making sure no one was left behind as flames reached the after hangar. Aircraft trapped below and on deck burned or slid toward the sea as the ship's list worsened. By the time Sherman was the last to leave, Lexington's air group, 42 planes remained behind, sealed in by fire and steel, their fate tied to the ship's final plunge. On March 4, 2018, a research team aboard the vessel Petrel brought the story of Lady Lex into sharp focus. Using autonomous underwater vehicles equipped with sonar, They mapped a square kilometer of seabed in the Coral Sea, more than 3,000 meters below the surface. The sonar revealed the unmistakable outline of a carrier hull, upright and largely intact despite decades under crushing pressure and darkness. But the real surprise lay scattered nearby, aircraft frozen in time, still bearing the markings of Lexington's air group. Remotely operated vehicles descended through the inky water, their lights cutting through silt and cold. Cameras captured the first glimpses of aircraft that had not seen daylight since 1942. 11 planes were documented in the debris field: TBD Devastator torpedo bombers and F-4F Wildcat fighters. Their fuselage numbers and squadron insignia still visible beneath a thin layer of marine growth. Some lay upright, others tilted or partially buried, but all were eerily well preserved by the cold, oxygen-poor environment. At these depths, the water temperature hovers near freezing, and the pressure is enough to crush a submarine hull. Yet paint and aluminum surfaces endured, protected from the corrosion and scavengers that erase shallow wrecks. The deep sea acted like a time capsule, holding a moment of battle in place for decades. The petrol team's technology allowed for high-definition video and detailed stills, confirming that at least part of Lexington's lost air group remains alongside her on the ocean floor. The evidence was undeniable. Lady Lex had indeed taken her planes with her, and the deep sea had kept them as a time capsule of the last moments of the Coral Sea battle. The discovery brought answers to a question that lingered for generations. Proof that history, when preserved by the elements and revealed by human curiosity, can survive in the most unlikely places. Beneath 2 miles of ocean, war machines still outlast the men who built them, untouched, unclaimed, a silent record of unfinished stories. As technology brings us closer to these relics, the frontier between history and memory grows thinner. Some chapters of war refuse to rest. Share your thoughts below.